Welcome, everyone, to our panel discussion on the power of upskilling. My name is Mahdis. I'm the co-founder of the Female Factor, and I'll be your moderator today. I've honestly been waiting for this day for a long time to get these incredible women into one room, and I hope you can feel my excitement through the camera. Why are we here today? We're here today because, thanks to Google, we as the Female Factor have been able to give away scholarships to hundreds of women eager to upskill, especially when it comes to digital skills. And the reason why we're pushing this topic forward is because, as of right now, women occupy around 22% of tech jobs in the EU. It's not enough. And at the same time, we are experiencing a skills shortage on the labor market. So today we want to discuss the importance of upskilling, share some opportunities, some success stories, and also talk about the impact upskilling can have on finally closing the gender gap. So, welcome with me today, Christina Antlanger-Winter, Google Director of Austria and Switzerland. Thank you for being here. Then with us today is also Alma Zadić, Federal Minister of Justice of Austria. Thank you so much. Eva-Maria 𝗂𝗺𝗔, who is Head of Unit Women and Families at the Chamber of Labor in Austria. And last but not least, Elena Drakulevska, who received her Google Scholarship in UX design this year and who is now a BI consultant at 𝗵𝗺𝗫. I hope I said that right, or 𝗵𝗺𝗫, I believe. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Before I start with my questions, I just want to let you know in the audience that you will also have the chance to ask your questions. So after our discussion, we will dedicate time to a Q&A session with you. So there will be a Slido link that you can use to submit your questions, and we will make sure to cover those as well. So let's get started with Christina. This initiative started under your umbrella, so to say. Why do you believe in this topic? Why do you push for the power of upskilling and digital skills so much?
Well, it was something that I found was really, really useful. And we are, first of all, very happy and very lucky to have partners like you so that we can actually really create an impact for so many women out there, like Elena, that we have here today. Upskilling, I think, is key. First, it's key for our economies, for our society, but then I think there's a very special element in especially tech upskilling for women. I think it's something where it's really about creating access. It's really a topic of, it's not that women can't do it, to the contrary, right? But we have to acknowledge that we live in societies where women don't have the equal access to technology like men, and also not all men have the same access. And I think we have to broaden this to get more talent into the tech space. And here I think upskilling and things like we do here with the Google Career Certificates is a good way, because it tells you not every tech job is like super geeky, and not every tech job is like software engineering or things like that. But there is so many, I mean, technology is a part of every day of our lives, right? And of every company and every job. So the field of technology broadened a lot over the past years, and I think we have to reflect that in the education that we provide. And so here it's something, the Google Career Certificates, everyone can access, right? You don't need to have any kind of pre-education to do it. So really everyone can do it. And the feedback we get is just phenomenal. And that's something that's really very close to my heart. It's been part of my personal story as well. I only studied engineering and the technical study because there was a study called Media Engineering and Media Design. I would have never studied software engineering because I was like, I had just no accessibility to that, and I've never seen a line of code before I started studying that, but it just caught my attention with one of the other interests that I had. So I really believe that this is something very powerful that we should use, and the proofs are out there, right? At FH Hagenberg, where I studied, they just launched a new study that is called Design of Digital Products, and it had 70% women doing this study, compared to, like you said, 30%, 20%. We're in lower numbers of women doing technical studies.
Amazing. So would you consider yourself a techie?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of it, but that doesn't mean that you're only a techie,
Yeah.
right? I think that's just one part of what you do, and I think it's just something that actually every human and everyone should be able to have at least like basic skills and understanding, because it's very beneficial to go into this world, and we've just seen it over the past month, right? With all the advancements in AI, we can so much more imagine, I think, how job profiles are going to evolve and how important it is to also understand not every line of code, right? But to have an understanding of how you can use it, how you can apply it, which different fields of technology are there. And I think, Elena, that's something that caught also your attention, right? That, oh, there is something like UX design, which is just one part of Google Career Certificate. So we actually provide 5 different courses that are all very job related. So one is data analytics, one is UX design, one is IT support, project management, and digital marketing. So that just shows a bit of a range of what a variety is there in the tech field.
Absolutely. And you spoke about accessibility, and I want to continue actually with you, Alma. So 29 years ago, you and your family came to Austria, and to me and to many women, you are like proof that a young, smart woman can achieve so much in this country with access to education and knowledge. Now you are Minister of Justice. You have impact on the lives of so many people out there. What accomplishment, especially in the field of gender equality, are you personally most proud of?
Oh, very intriguing question. I think there are several aspects that I think are relevant in this respect. First of all, access to education for everyone. But we very well know that, in particular in Austria, education is also inherited. If your parents are well educated, if they come from a well-off family, it's obvious that you will be educated as well, whether you are female or male. And this is not so much true if you come from a different background. And so I think that this is something where we need to do more. We need to provide more scholarships, more possibilities for, and in particular, women and young girls to educate themselves, to find it interesting, to see what possibilities they have. Because a lot of people, a lot of young girls just don't see what's out there, what's possible for them. That's why I think that role models are incredibly important. It's important to see that no matter what your background is, whether society background, national background, religious background, you can achieve certain positions. And I also think that, and this is something that I always underline, I think female alliances are key. Because honestly, I wouldn't be in this position if there were not friends, in particular female friends, to encourage me to do certain things. So, for example, apply for the Fulbright scholarship. I remember back then I heard about the scholarship. I talked about with a friend of mine, and she said, Alma, you should apply. Come on, let's do it together. I apply as well. And I did apply for the scholarship. I got the scholarship, and it changed my life. The same with politics. I used to be a lawyer before, and it was one day that a female friend of mine, 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗍, asked me if I want to join this new political party. And over a weekend, I decided, yes, I will. I'm giving up my lawyer's career in a big international law firm, and I'm starting something that is new but intriguing, and then I became Minister of Justice. And this is maybe the third aspect that I want to put into this discussion. First was education and access to education. Second is role models, female alliances. But the third is also follow your passion. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do this or you cannot do that, and this is not made for girls, this is not made for women. Everything is made for you as well. So this is my third key motivation. Follow your passion, do what you desire, and you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. I love how you describe your path and how you describe the importance also of community and other women around you and the impact that they have on you. Can you maybe share what you do today to give back or to make sure that other women rise to the top with you, so to say?
What I really like to do, first of all, encounters like this, it's actually really nice to just sit together among women and discuss also what challenges we had, because most of us in our different settings face similar challenges, and it's really nice. And we had a very interesting come together of only women in Alpbach, and it's really nice to share these perspectives among women, because you will see that very often the challenges are very similar, and to have one or the other advice how to cope with these difficulties, how to cope with these hurdles along your way is something that I try to give to others, but I also ask for advice also from time to time, because every one of us has moments of weakness, and acknowledging these moments of weakness is important. And I mean, in particular now, I have a very diverse team, and I try to have a young and diverse team to encourage them to apply for scholarships. Two, actually, of my team members throughout the last 4 years applied for the Fulbright scholarship.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and received it.
Amazing.
Yes,
amazing.
I'm very proud of it.
You mentioned an event, for example, where you came together with a lot of women. We were actually also there as the Female Factor, and sometimes at these type of conferences, not everyone has access, obviously, right? And that's why it's so important to us to have powerful partners like Google, in this case, to give access to so many women out there who might not be able to come into these rooms in general. So I want to go now to Elena, who is one of the proud scholarship and certificate holders, so to say. Elena, what made you apply for this Google scholarship in the first place?
So it's a very interesting story. So I moved to Vienna 2.5 years ago. It was still in the middle of the pandemic, and I didn't know a lot of people here. So my network was quite small. And the Female Factor kept showing up in my LinkedIn field.
Okay, kudos to our marketing team, I guess.
Yeah, you're doing a really good job. And at one point, I saw a post about a panel discussion with Google about upskilling and supporting women's career in Austria. So it was this exact same panel discussion, but 1.5 years ago. And I can't believe it, to be honest, that I'm sitting here today and telling this story. But I remember when the panel ended, so I felt like, okay, oh my God, I have to check out the courses, and if there's anything that catches my attention, then I will apply for the scholarship. And so I did. And this is what I hope that we will achieve here today. So to inspire women out there to upskill, to invest in their careers, in themselves. And I believe the Google scholarships are just a great way to do that.
Can you share, I mean, I think that's amazing. Someone from our team actually mentioned that is such a full circle moment for you to have been watching this panel discussion. Now you're sitting here on stage. That's incredible. Can you share a bit about that learning journey? What course did you decide to do, and what impact did it have on your career? How did you manage to do that with your job on the side? Because that's something that a lot of people are also concerned about.
Yes, I can imagine. So I ended up choosing UX design. And to be honest, back then, I wasn't even sure what UX design was, but I was curious to find out more about it. And this goes probably back to Alma, and she mentioned that if you're passionate about something, that you should follow your passion. So I truly believe that if you're passionate about something, then it's just going to be energizing for you. So for me, it really didn't matter that it was an evening thing that I was doing after a full day of working, or even doing something over the weekend, because it's not like you have to do it. I mean, you get to do it. So for me, it was quite energizing. And in general, the course is really well structured. So it really gives you the opportunity to start where you left off last time. So if you some days feel like working less, it's totally fine. Some other days you will do more. And yeah, just take your time. Yeah, just don't take forever. I mean, after all, done is better than perfect. And if UX design has taught me anything, is that you cannot have it perfect right away. So it's by implementing something and then actively seeking feedback and iterating on that feedback that we actually learn and improve. And to circle back on the impact that it had on my career, well, I'm sitting here with you today, so I would say it has had a great impact on my career. But yeah, to give the answer to the audience as well. So it's not really the classical story of I finished a UX design course, I decided to switch careers, and now I found a job as a UX designer. I actually, what this course did was actually it gave me another perspective in my current profession. So I'm working in the field of data analytics, and it helped me find a job at 𝗵𝗵𝗺 as a BI consultant. So what I'm doing is actually applying UX design principles to data reporting. So when I'm creating reports for my clients in different industries. And I think this is a bit different, right? It gives me a kind of an edge, but also it made me realize that not so many people are aware of this topic. So what I'm also doing, and this brings me to the second part of the impact that this course has had on my career, is that I started strongly advocating for this, and I became a public speaker. So I'm happy to share that I will be speaking at one of the biggest data conferences in the world. It's called Past Data Community Summit, and it's in Seattle this November. So I'm actually flying there next week.
Amazing, wow. That's incredible. I wish we could come and watch you there, but we will cheer for you. That's incredible. Eva, that must be music to your ears because you are representing employees in Austria. I mean, that's just an incredible success story. What do you experience? What are some of the market needs, but also the feedback that you receive from especially female employees maybe in Austria in terms of digital upskilling? Are they aware of all the opportunities out there? Do you feel like we need to do a bit more in certain areas? What's your take on this?
Of course we need to do more.
Always.
Of course we need to do more. And yes, congratulations. That's really, really great.
Thank you
Congratulations
so much.
For the achievements. Looking at the perspective of female employees in Austria, I would say, let me look at it from two ways of where we need to do more. The first is, and where we hear it now, is probably the more tech space. Because as you've introduced the session here, there's too few women who work there.
Yeah.
So obviously we need to speed up there. We need to bring in more women in this field. So the licenses that you offer, they make a great job, obviously. I would say it's important for women to be there, but it's also important for society and for the job market that women are there. And let me explain that a bit further. I would say I feel quite confident to have Elena analyze data alongside with probably many men. But I love her to be there, and I'd love to see more women to be there. I'd love them to bring in their perspective in the tech space and to be part of the creation of the future digital space. That's part of our society. So I'd love to have that female perspective in there. Empowerment, enablement, truly important in the true tech space. And the second perspective, I would say, let's look a bit beyond, because we've heard about passion from you, Alma. And obviously, we see that passion of women certainly goes in the tech space, but it also goes in other spaces. It also goes in other branches. And if we have women feeling the passion to pursue the careers in the care sector, in the field of education, in retail, and this is exactly the jobs where women in Austria work, where we have predominantly female sectors, I would say let's empower them there as well, because there's a lot of digital opportunities. And we might not think of this in the first place. Or would those women pursuing their careers in care, would they think of a digital upskilling? I would rather say there's a lot we need to do more. And the opportunities, just let's think of the field of education. Inclusion is a great space. And we all know that women working in education, especially in education for the youngest, so in kindergarten, I mean, that's a challenging job, predominantly female. And then we see the challenge, especially when it comes to children with special needs. And how do we manage to include them? If you have a teacher, AI would probably help them a lot in order to recognize what's the special needs, to adapt the pace of learning, to really recognize the strengths and the needs of a kid. We'd probably not think of that, and I think that's something where we need to speed up and provide those opportunities. And probably this is happening with the licenses. I would just open up the mind and go beyond the classic tech thinking, because the realities of women goes far beyond that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Christina, would you say someone who is not in a typical tech field, as Eva now mentioned, how do you want to motivate them to see digital upskilling as an add-on?
I couldn't agree more. Thank you for pointing out that clearly. I think it's really important that we put focus there and create attention around there, because it's coming back to where we started, right? Because it's a lot about access. We don't have it in our minds. We have different pictures in our minds. And I think especially I'm just a huge ambassador of interdisciplinarity, because that is like what we need, right? We need to show that medicine and technology come together, and it's important that you have a technological part in things like medicine or care, where it's even seems to be even a bit further away in our thinking, right? And to really create and make visible the opportunities that we have there. So I think it's about role modeling, it's about speaking about it, it's about creating education around it, and really influencing also the decision makers in politics, right? Education is a lot driven by or influenced by politics, and also the education parts to get forward. Because, as I said, right, technology is a part of our everyday life, so it needs to be part of every education that we do.
Absolutely. I know that all of you have very busy schedules, so I was just wondering, if you had all the time in the world right now, what would you like to upskill yourself on? Like, is there anything where you're like, if I had like time in my day, I'd love to dive deeper into this topic?
Yeah, I thought about it today. And one thing is French, because I just moved to Switzerland, and I learned French in school, but it's not in my active brain capacity right now. So I try to use the apps that are out there to get better in French. So that's one thing. And then, yeah, there is multiple other ideas. One thing, obviously, is also to keep myself really on the forefront of AI advancement. So that's where I do invest a lot of time right now.
Amazing. Alma,
interesting that you're mentioning AI. Of course, you. I mean, but honestly, to be honest, I spent a lot of time with ChatGPT just because I like to learn what it can do, because it's incredible. The pace is just mind-blowing, and I do not have a lot of time to really dive deep into it, but I'm very impressed and concerned, and it's mind-blowing what ChatGPT has managed to do. And AI, it's a large language model, but still, I mean, what it has managed to do within the last 6 months. I mean, imagine what it's going to do in the 2, 3, 4 years from now. So I think we all should spend some more time dealing with it now, because the pace is just incredible. And speaking of pace, if I would have more time, I would love to do a yoga instruction retreat or whatever, because I really need to get exactly silent down and be with myself and my body and my mind. So that's why I would love to do a yoga instruction upskilling.
Amazing. Okay, 2025, the Female Factor will offer a yoga retreat. We promise it here now. Eva, if you had all the time in the world right now, what would you like to learn more about? It's
probably data analytics. I'm quite
inspired by that. You should talk to Elena.
I think we'll have a chat after the discussion here because, oh, that's amazing, UX design and data analytics, because in the Chamber of Labour what we do is a lot of research. And personally, I'm coming more from the background of qualitative research, which I really admire, but I'm all appreciative of data and I love to get it out. It's great explanations, it drives decisions, really like that. And the second thing is a totally different one. Don't know if you've heard of art of hosting. That's a technique to invite people in discussion and process, to bring them all in, to make them part of decision creation, decision taking, decision making. And it's a lovely technique, and there's a worldwide society about that. I'd love to join their conferences all around the world. So after doing yoga with you, I'd go to art of hosting.
I would like to chat about that as well.
Probably a combination. Couldn't that be nice? Couldn't that be nice? And we bring Elena, certainly, to explain the data.
I see there's a learning group developing here, and I think that's also one of the advantages of doing the Google certificates, because you do have like a group that does it with you, so you always have like kind of sparring partners, because obviously you're doing it next to your job maybe. And Elena, as you mentioned, sometimes on the weekends and in the evening, and it's always good if you have other people on the journey with you in the community, right? But Elena, I know you have a certificate now. Is there anything else that you would like to use if you could spend some time on it?
I usually go for those things and I try to read on the side, but on the top of my mind, probably the digital marketing would be a nice idea. I mean, Google offers it, so maybe I can put it on my list. Yeah, I think that could also be connected with data analytics, so that can also bring me another perspective in my current job. And something that's completely different is learning Japanese.
Oh, wow.
I started that, but you kind of need to invest more time. But I really think that it gives you another perspective of seeing things. So that's why I'm kind of curious to learn it.
Nice.
Amazing.
So we go to the language part.
Yeah, this is moving into the language part. Speaking of language, I do have a last question before we get to the Q&A to you, Alma. We do have in the audience a lot of women watching who are third culture kids, like myself, for example, who don't have German as their mother tongue. What's your main message to them? Because you're such an inspiration to them and such a role model. And obviously they can take all the courses in English, as we know. But what is your main message to these women watching right now?
I would say change your perspective. It's not about seeing that as a burden. It's seeing that as an asset. Having an additional language, coming from a different country, having a different culture within yourself is an asset. And it's also an asset not only because you bring diversity to the team, it's also an asset for yourself, because a lot of women, a lot of people who come from a different country, who, as you said, have a different cultural background, they needed to overcome a lot of hurdles in their life to be there where they are now, which means that they've already, throughout their life, fought a lot to keep up with all the others who had it with, from the beginning, for whom it was provided since birth. So imagine that as an incredible asset that gives you force to drive, and it gives you the power and the strength to move forward.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Now it's time for our Q&A session. We do have Slido up, I believe, and you can type in your question. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, are scholarships going to be open now? Can we access the courses that we spoke about here? And before we see now the questions coming up, and I'm going to use my tablet for that, I'm going to give the word actually to Christina, because we do have some good news and bad news. The bad news is that because we're coming to an end this year, we've given away almost all the scholarships that we have as the Female Factor together with Google. However, I believe you do have some good news for us.
Yes, I mean, it's actually the bad news is not that bad, because the good news is, given that there is so much request and so much interest, we were able to secure another 200 scholarships, which brings us also to 1,000 scholarships that we've given away, and you've been really such a wonderful partner to us, so we're really, really happy about that.
Amazing. You heard it, 200 more, so keep on applying. And if you have any questions, we're now ready for those. And I'm just looking at the screen right now. Okay, there is a question. I think, Elena, maybe you can answer that. What is the format of these certificates? Can you give more insights into that?
Yes, definitely. So, to be honest, I was a bit skeptical at first because it's just another online course. But it combines theory and practice so well. So you have the whole material is divided into different courses, and each course is divided into a couple of 4 to 7 weeks. So the learning material is really well structured, and then you have video lectures. So you have for the theory part. Then you have, like, even when you're watching those videos, there's questions popping up, like a quiz, just to make sure you're following. So you cannot really scroll on your phone while you do it. After this theory part, you also have a hands-on. So you actually work on real-life projects, and you follow the whole UX design process, beginning to end. And by the time you're finished with the certificate, you actually have 3 full projects for your portfolio, and you can actually use them to apply for entry-level jobs.
Amazing. I think you're already answering the question, because someone asked, compared to on-site programs, what is really the difference? Is it as valuable? But according to you, it is.
It is, definitely. And what I found interesting was, for example, you also have to submit those assignments. And you have other peers that are actually taking part, that are also students of the UX design certificate, are actually reviewing your work. And you have to get like 2 or 3 reviews. And some of the comments are also can be also constructive, so you can implement that feedback. And what you also do is you give feedback to your peers. So you see how they have done their project, and you can also get inspired by it, you know. You can see something that someone did that was better than you, and you can also learn and implement it.
So it's really a collaborative effort. That's
it
amazing.
Is, yes.
Yeah. There is a question, I'm not sure if we can answer that, Christina, actually. Will access to the new Google Cybersecurity Professional Certificate be made available through the scholarship giveaway?
Right now it's not in the portfolio, but I take this very happily with me. Cybersecurity is such an important topic that we do actually support a lot. And there is actually a separate program where we did do a pledge also for cybersecurity upskilling for women. Yeah, maybe you can create the connection in case we need to follow up, because it's also a topic that we try to invest a lot.
Okay, then we will take this feedback and update you. There is a question coming in, how can we apply to receive one of these extra 200 scholarships by Google? That is a question I can answer. You can simply go on 𝘂𝗵𝗺𝗺global/upskilling, and there you can apply for the topic that you're interested in. Good, coming to the next question. How difficult is it at the moment to transition into data analytics, data science in the EU, as the market is in recession? Eva, Elena, anyone else having a view on that?
I can take it, right? I mean, we are in a phase where obviously we have to write rules, right? And we have to write a rule book for some things in digitalization, because that hasn't happened for a pretty long time. So it's a very specific time, but from my point of view, and please add your point of view, it's an essential topic, right? So it might change. There might be some new rules for how you collect data, and that's good, right? And we need that. But that itself, how you deal with it, and the benefit, obviously, that we can all have from it, and just take that you know in Google Maps how long the journey will take you in real, right? Because you have all the anonymous data where there is a lot of traffic, for example. I mean, we cannot remember a world where it just gave us the standard time to go from point A to point B, because there was no data available to say where there are traffic jams and what you have to foresee. Or just take the topic of sustainability, right? The way we can use data there can have a huge impact to find really solutions for very big climate crisis problems. So I think the field stays really, really big. We just have to be very smart and deliberate on how we want to use it. So I think it's more relevant than ever before.
I agree with you, actually, because as you said, it's huge and it's so fast developing that if you want to do it, do it. Don't think about the recession, and don't let the talks about the recession, because it's still the talks and in the media, hinder you to do what you would like to do. Because I'm convinced that data analysis, and with all the what's going on with AI, and we need new regulations, as you mentioned, we need new rule books. There will be need for people who can do this, who have specialized skills. Yeah. So don't let any outcries with regards to recession hinder you to do that, because I'm sure that staying positive and having this trust that the world will continue to be awesome for everyone, and this trust, with this trust, move in the world, because otherwise it's just going to be too negative and you will withdraw. We need to have the trust that positive things will come.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, data is everywhere, and there's so much data that the need actually to make sense of this data just grows, and it's very important to have people that are interested in this field, because yeah, it's all about the mindset. Just keep upskilling, and as you said, like, don't let other people or the market change your mindset, because it's very important, and it's gonna be even more important. So yeah, I would say just do it.
Just do it. Okay. The next question, Alma, is for you. The person says, thank you, Alma, for highlighting the importance of embracing where you come from. Unfortunately, job opportunities are very limited in English here in Austria. Do you have any tips?
I'm aware that the job opportunities in English are limited, because I do have a lot of friends also who come from different countries and speak English and have troubles finding a job. But I think that the need for people who speak English and who speak very good English are growing. And I mean, I think you can chip in there, because our world is becoming globalized and English is becoming the world language. That's why jobs in English will be available, even if they are not here now, because Austria is still a small country. I think the market for opportunities and possibilities is growing. But nonetheless, learn German as well.
I think there's a need of both at the moment. Yeah. If you're in the procedure of applications now, you would find many companies that request German, or at least German at a certain level, if it's not fluent. At the same time, what we see, and when we briefly spoke about that, labor shortage and the need for workers in all sectors. So I would pretty much assume, and that's happening, that companies are opening up. So they are looking for a different talent pipeline, and they are looking for international talent as well. At the same time, that would entail that the company cultures change, so they would open up everyday communication. If it continues to be in German, well, it's going to be difficult for international talent to be based in Austria and pursue their careers. But it really needs an effort of employers, of firms, of companies to change that mindset and their everyday culture into a more inclusive culture.
Absolutely. I believe at Google the company language is English.
Yes, our company language is English, and then it always depends on the job profile, what you actually do, if you require German in whatever kind of level, right? Or in other countries, obviously, other languages.
Amazing. Maybe I can also add to this question from our side, from the Female Factor. You can always check out the jobs on our job platform, jobs.femalefactor.global. We work with most companies who have English as a working language here in Austria, so make sure to check that out as well. We can support there. Okay, I think we're slowly coming to an end. I believe these were the burning questions from the audience. There is just one last question I'm going to take now because time is, ticking. Do you have tips on how to start as a project manager in, for example, a Scandinavian country as an Austrian? That's a very specific question.
That's a very specific one.
As a project manager in a Scandinavian country as an Austrian.
Mm-hmm. Just apply?
Just apply, invest yourself. Probably you've done that job in Austria, and you might still want to do it in Scandinavia. From a female perspective, project management can be a very, very challenging and demanding job time-wise. Learning from the Scandinavian countries that work-life balance is working much better there. So I just say, go for it and try it out, because it might be much easier to do that job and to learn and bring back the experience then.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Elena, for sharing your success story. We're very proud of you. Thank you so much, Eva, for bringing your perspective. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Alma, for taking the time. We know your schedule is full. It's incredible to have such a role model like yourself here. Christina, you are also such a role model to many watching. Thank you so much for pushing this topic, for supporting so many women out there together with us. Thank you to you and your team for also offering the additional 200 scholarships.
Of course. I'm super happy that it worked out.
Yeah, and also thanks to the entire Google team for helping really back in the background, basically making this happen today. And lastly, also thanks to our very own team at the Female Factor. They've been working tirelessly to bring more women to the top, give more access to education, to opportunities for women. So these stories and these conversations we have really make our day as the Female Factor team. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.